I, 35M. Just overheard my brother, 27M, cheating on his GF. I'm lying in bed freaking the fuck out about what to do in the morning. We're partying at a cottage for the weekend, and his ex from 7 years ago is also here. His girlfriend stayed home. After going to bed, I was suspicious that the ex hadn't gone to bed, and opened my door to hear my brother fucking his ex-GF. He's been with his girlfriend for a few years, they share an apartment and a dog. She's such a lovely person. This has shattered my view of my brother and don't see how this won't affect our relationship. The ex-girlfriend has now gone to bed and I hear her crying. Seems like she feels guilty? My brother is my ride tomorrow, so we have to share a car for 3 hours, and I'm not good at hiding my emotions. I have very strong values when it comes to this, and I can't let it slide. I think I have to tell her. I feel sick. My brother is my closest friend and I don't know how that's going to change. The ex-girlfriend has now gone to bed and I hear her crying. Seems like she feels guilty? Probably she asked him to break up with his current girlfriend for her and he said no. Now she's crying because she fucked an ex for no reason. Never feels good. That and she's a cheater just like him. Why was the ex there in the first place? Please record your conversation confronting your brother. Because once you give your brother the ultimatum to tell his girlfriend, he will spin at his story to make you look like the jealous one or something. Liars never come clean. He would likely double down on his lies. No, he needs to tell her. This is an example of social consequences for cheating. We are allowed to cut down or eliminate our relationships with people who do abhorrent things. If more people were like you, cheaters would prosper far less than they do now, as they deserve. Give him a time limit to tell her, or you will. I'm F25, pregnant, but he's M31, really happy with someone else. We were together for 3 years and broke up 3 years ago. It was a really good relationship and I was very happy with him throughout the whole thing, but we wanted 2 completely different things. He wanted things that people his age group wanted, and I wanted things that people my age group wanted. It was sad, but we had to break up. He moved on and started dating his now fiancée. We see each other once in a while because our friends, but don't really make conversation. Around 3 months ago a mutual friend had a party and he was there without her and I decided to talk to him because he seemed down. He explained that him and his girlfriend, they were just dating at this time, had problems about cheating and had broken up. After our friend's party, we were still talking when we went back to my place. I didn't see it leading to sex, but it did. We had sex a total of 4 times. We were plastered the first time, sober the other times. It was in a span of a week. We didn't continue anything because the same reasons still stood. He wanted that white picket fence life and I didn't, so we stopped before anything got serious. I was 10 weeks when I found out. I didn't immediately know what I was going to do, so I didn't tell anyone, but after thinking about it, I've decided to keep the baby. I know, I spent years saying this isn't what I wanted, but actually being placed in this position changed things. Only 2 other people know. I'm currently 13 weeks. I'm not sure when they got back together, but she posted that they got engaged a few days ago. This just makes me feel 110% worse. I know I need to tell him, but I feel bad telling him. How do I tell him? If you plan on keeping the child, he deserves to know. He shouldn't marry his fiancée without telling her he has a child. It would be cruel to keep it from him when you know that he has made it known to you that he wanted a child. Please tell him ASAP. Friend, X, I got pregnant during our little week of fun. I've decided to keep the pregnancy. I know this is shocking news, so I don't expect you to make any decisions right this minute, but when you're ready, I'd like to talk to you about how involved, or not, you wish to be so we can make a plan. Just send the text. ETA. I wouldn't call him because if he's with his fiancée, he's not going to be able to take your call or speak freely. You need to tell him now. Him and his fiancée need to be aware of the whole picture before they commit to a lifetime together. Are you hoping he is an active parent, or do you want monetary support? If he won't answer the phone, send him a text. It's not a great way to tell him, but it does the job. I bet he calls you then. You will also have proof you told him. Tell him. He made the choice to have unprotected sex, and now he has to step up and take responsibility for that. Sex isn't a game. My 31F girlfriend, 37F, left me because my parents were not supportive of me when I came out to them. She had this dream of us having a big family with our future kids seeing their grandchildren and our parents' families meeting each other and having lunches and dinners together. Her family was very supportive of her when she came out to them, and she even introduced me to them. They accepted me as part of their family and it was very nice. But my own parents were not supportive of me. In fact, my father said he is ashamed of me and does not want to further have any communication with me, let alone meeting my GF. My mother is sad and calls me pervert but still talks to me a bit. However, she takes my father's side, so also did not want to meet my GF. I told my girlfriend my family was hostile towards me and 2 months later she left me on this ground. I am shattered. Wow. Just wow. That is super hurtful. I can see why you're shattered. Not only did she leave when you needed her most, but she left because of the reason you needed her most. All I can say is to hang in there. Process these painful emotions, and know that it seems like you dodged a bullet. I wouldn't want to be with someone who left someone because they couldn't fulfill some idyllic family picture that may never happen anyway. Edit. Typo. Looking at your post history, you've got a lot of relationship drama going on in a very short period of time. Woman shrugging, light skin tone. That sucks. And if it was your family's hostility that drove her away, she is actually as bad as you folks. She let you down, just like your parents. Go and see with your folks and find someone that will have your back, even when the going gets tough. You have been dealt a crap hand, but now you know who is on your side and who is not. Get revenge by leading your best life. So she forced you to come out to your parents, which is sick as fuck. She was telling you that you were going to pay for her friend to come on a trip you wanted to take her on. The friend is probably her actual girlfriend. There's definitely something wrong with that situation. Apparently she lives in filth. The relationship was long distance and you only met her 5 times? And none of them were happy occasions apparently. It sounds like she was playing some bizarre game, blew your life up, and then just walked away. That wasn't love. At best, she was playing house, and when the game didn't match some goofy fantasy, she didn't want to play anymore. Please value yourself more than this. Wow. So she basically blamed you for your family mistreating you? She's really shitty for that. How do I tell my 55F husband, 56M, about my sons, 28M, new girlfriend, 28F? I apologize for any issue with the post as I don't really use Reddit, but I couldn't think of anywhere else to ask for advice anonymously. I have 3 sons, 32, 28, and 26. All of my sons are very successful young men and are on their own. My oldest and youngest were always very outgoing and were kind of party animals in high school and college. My middle focused on his grades and future from a young age. He moved out the youngest into his own home. Anyway, my middle had a very bad ex-girlfriend. I would like to say worse, but I read the rules here. Basically they dated since 17 and she cheated on him several times. My son never left because he loved her, but eventually he realized she was a bad woman and left her. Only took 8 years. Anyway, my oldest got married at 29 and my youngest is engaged. They give my middle son a lot of crap because he is single, but I always say that his ex kind of messed up his sense of love and confidence. They don't understand what he went through. My husband agrees. 6 months ago he started dating this new girl, that we just met yesterday. I was happy to hear that he found someone. She is very educated and smart, according to him. They have similar personalities and interest. Considering my middle is kind of a nerd, that made me very happy to hear. Anyway, I wanted to meet her immediately. My son said that she is very shy and it would take her time. 6 months later she told him that she is ready to meet us. So Friday afternoon, my husband decides to grill. Everyone comes over. Then my son and his new girlfriend show up. This beautiful girl walks in holding his hand and standing behind him. He was right, she is very shy. We all introduce ourselves and we will call her Sadie. Sadie was quiet but said hi to everyone. She honestly associated the most with our dog that night. My sons go out and help their dad cook. My daughter-in-law goes out with my grandbaby, and soon-to-be daughter-in-law and her are best friends till they go out together. I ask if Sadie would like to help me finish the sides and chop some stuff. She says sure. I just ask how they met and typical conversations. Eventually my middle comes in and comes up behind her, pokes her booty. She gives him a really look and hits in the arm and he grabs her and pick her up as they laugh. I say put her down, don't be so rough on her. My son just says okay, put her down and goes back out. I said, sorry, 3 boys. Sometimes they are little too rough, but he is harmless, she said. I know he is. I used to wrestle with my dad and brother growing up too. I said, your mom let her daughter wrestle her older brother and dad? She said, "Well, I used to be a boy, so I guess it was different," and giggled. I froze. I said, "What?" Her face went snow white and immediate tears rolled down her face. She said, "He didn't tell you?" I went, "No." She said, "I think I should leave, I am sorry." I grabbed her and said, "No, stay here." I said, "Does my son know?" She said, "Yes, he knows." She then said, "I always bring it up first date, so if there are issues, we don't waste each other's time." To be honest, I am very surprised. But my son has never been so happy, so I dropped it. I honestly just couldn't believe it. I mean, you would never know. She is gorgeous. She asked if I thought of her different. I said that you make my son happy, and as long as you treat him right I won't care. She just said thank you. I called my son today because his dad wants to get to know her more and wants to go to dinner with just them and us. He said sure. I brought up our conversation and he said he knows. He said that she is just really shy about it, doesn't talk about it at all. She just try to run under the radar. He said that since you know we need to tell Dad. But they discussed me kind of pre-telling my husband. Before tomorrow evening. Any idea on how, or should I tell my son before we go that he and her are going to have to do it? Any help would greatly appreciated, thank you. I think if she wants you to tell your husband first, you should. I can imagine it is a scary thing for her to meet a new partner's family. She probably wants to protect herself from any potential negative reaction. If your husband is told by someone else, he can process and react to the information in any way he does while she's not right in front of him. I do not think you should put the burden on her to come out as trans to a man she doesn't know. If you really do not want to tell your husband, you could tell your son to do it, but one if you should. I may be off base here, but I honestly don't see why anyone except your son actually needs to know. Nobody needs to be told it's information that doesn't really mean anything to anyone except your son. If it comes up naturally in conversation, then it comes up and that's fine, but it shouldn't ever need to be a whole conversation or some shocking revelation. Maybe try not to sit him down and discuss it. Don't do the, "I need to tell you something" bit. That could set up the conversation to make him feel tense about it and give the impression that you think it's a big deal. Instead, try to be more relaxed and casual. In the same way you'd say, "Isn't it interesting that she grew up only speaking German? You'd never know with how great her English is." Acting like you think it's a serious topic that needs addressing could color his first impression of the information. Even if really he'd be cool with it. If I were the father, I'd hate to be the only one not to know, but I would also accept it. I think you should tell your husband one-on-one. If your son is cool with it, I don't see why anyone else's opinion matters. TBH, I'm not the most liberal person in the world. But I don't think anyone should have any objections to what two consenting adults do in a relationship. If he's happy and she isn't displaying some clear red flags, which it appears she isn't, everyone should live and let live.